So we've had our Tesla Model Y long range edition for over a year now. It's been a great experience so far. We loved it right from the start. In fact, I loved it even before I got it. Jumping from a gas vehicle to a completely electric vehicle was certainly a change of pace. It was certainly a change of mindset. And looking back on it, I had the opportunity to kind of really break down everything that we spent on it to see if it really was cheaper. Now, I'm not going to talk about the electricity generation, anything like that. Just basically how much I pay for electricity to charge the vehicle, when and where I charge it, how much I pay for superchargers, and then kind of the cost comparison with everything else included to what I pay in our gas vehicle. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The true cost of an electric vehicle, in fact, a Tesla Model Y, from beginning to end after over a year of ownership, to really break down if it can actually save you some money. So sit back, relax. You guys are watching the Tall Tesla Guy. So the Tesla Model Y was Tesla's first foray into a SUV that's kind of mid to small size. They came out with the Model X back in 2016, and that was actually up to a 7-seater. So the challenge with the Model X versus the Model S was the price point. At almost $100,000, it outpriced a lot of people in the market. Tesla launched the Model 3 to jump into the small to mid-size sedan, being smaller, definitely a lower price point than the Model S, at under $40,000 when they launched it. And then just last year in 2020, Tesla launched the Model Y. Now the Model Y, being a mid-size SUV, initially only 4 or 5 seats, they actually launched a 7-seat version of the Model Y later on in the year last year, and it became quickly the fastest selling EV in the world, overtaking the Model 3 last year alone and overtaking it in sales and deliveries this year as well. But the Model 3 was the number one vehicle or number one selling vehicle for Tesla anyway, and the Model Y didn't disappoint, that's for sure. We definitely enjoyed the vehicle. I enjoyed the rapid acceleration. I enjoy the space and roomy cabin that it has. At 6'5", I like the headroom. The panoramic glass roof is like nothing I've ever seen before. In reality, the cost to run an EV is always going to be cheaper than a gas vehicle. There's no yearly maintenance, you don't have oil changes, anything like that. And in reality, the most you have to do to a Tesla, or any EV in general, is put washer fluid in. Now, changing tires, you do have to change tires, but you have to change tires on a gas vehicle as well. I will say though, the electric vehicle with the rapid starts that you have, with the instant acceleration, with the instant torque that you get when you push on the accelerator, coupled with the increased weight of the vehicle, the battery alone is pretty heavy. So the Teslas are pretty heavy vehicles with so much torque and power, you will burn through tires faster than in a gas vehicle. I get about 30 to 50,000 miles depending on the tires in my gas vehicle, and you're lucky if you get 20,000 miles in your electric vehicle, certainly your Tesla. In fact, my Tesla has about 13,000 miles on it, and I'm really pushing it close to about 430 seconds left on my tire tread. Probably even a little bit less now. So they're going to be replaced before I get into this winter season. And at 13,000 miles, maybe 15 by the time I get to that point, it's definitely not a lot of miles to have to replace the tires. Now, moving forward, I can say that, when you first get the Tesla, you're driving it and, hitting that accelerator when the light turns green, that sort of thing. So you're going to be burning through tires faster in the beginning, maybe, as you learn to drive it, as you work on your watt hours, getting your energy usage down. You're going to be using probably less. So moving forward, I think I could be more efficient in my driving, get closer to maybe 25,000 miles, but it's still less than a gas vehicle. And at about $300 per tire, $1,200 a year is a lot to spend on tires. A little bit more than my gas vehicle in general, as far as the cost goes, but $1,200 is something you got to kind of add to it. I spent about $150 to change the oil in the car, my gas vehicle anyway, and I can kind of cut that out of my Tesla, right? Obviously, there's no oil change with it. Adding washer fluid is basically all you're going to do. However, on the other side, you're not paying for gas, but you are going to be paying for electricity. Now, I charge at my house. So in my house, we actually installed a 240 outlet in the garage that allows me to charge overnight. My Tesla gets about 30 miles per hour of recouped range when it's plugged in overnight. I charge it to about 80% every day. I want to make sure and leave some room in there for regen braking, and that's kind of the recommendation from Tesla, is to only give you about 80%. So that's what I do. I charge it to about 80% unless I'm going on a road trip for electricity, about 13 cents. So what ends up costing, or at least adding to my electricity bill, I base it off of this year versus the last year. The total watt hours that we've used, we average about 242, about 13,000 miles. We end up spending about $36 a month, $35, $36 a month for electricity. We had a really hot summer, so it was kind of hard to balance that out a little bit. But based on the mileage, the watt hours we pay for electricity from our electricity company, it's about $36 a month. Now, there are other opportunities or other options to charge your vehicle. If you don't have a garage, you don't have a 240 outlet, and you don't want to use a 110 because it charges about 3 or 4 miles per hour, is to charge at a supercharger or public charging stations. Now, we did do that. We did use a supercharger a little bit. We went on a couple of road trips and we charged at a supercharger. Now, the cost to charge in a supercharger, now in this case, we were charging to about 90%. We came in there about 10, anywhere from 7 to 10% when we started charging. So from, call it 10% to about 90%, the cost was about $6.50. One of them about $7.80 for another one. And that gave us almost 300 miles of range. So when you kind of break it down and compare, our gas vehicle gets about 20 miles to the gallon, which is pretty low. But in general, we spend about $45 for a tank of gas and we get about 300 miles of range. So the range is actually pretty equivalent in our gas vehicle to our Tesla. Now, it's pretty consistent with the gas vehicle. It's about 300 miles every time. Now, with the Tesla, if you're driving fast, you're driving slow, it's super hot outside, you're using the air conditioner, that sort of thing, you're going to use more or less of your range or your percentage of battery. It's pretty consistent with the gas vehicle, but at $45 a tank, $180 a month, it's a lot more than $36 a month I spend on electricity with our Tesla, right? Now, I can say, though, the Tesla is not a cheap vehicle by any means, and it's not a money-saving trick, buying a Tesla. If you go on the website, when we bought our Tesla, when we went on the website and bought ours over a year ago, we paid $52,190 for it. Now, an identical vehicle, same color, everything, because you have to pay for the color, by the way, right from the start, you're going to be looking at $54,990. $54,990, so it's gone up about $2,000, $2,500 over the course of a year. Now, Tesla did that a lot. They broke it down maybe every few months. They were doing price increases, talking about the EV credit that's coming out potentially from the government, price increase. They have a supply shortage, price increase. They have a chip shortage, price increase. It seemed like the main focus of Tesla news over the past year was going to be price increases. So if you didn't buy the vehicle, if you didn't jump in and get it early enough, you're going to be spending about $2,500 more for it than we paid for ours way back then. Now, again, that's before adding in the destination charge, which actually dropped a little bit. We paid $1,200. It's about $1,100 now, which I'm not sure where that comes into play, but that's a little bit less. And then you're adding in your color if you want special wheels, which I would say off the bat, as far as recommending the wheels, the ones that come the 19 inches, unless you are hard set on the design of the 20s, then you're getting an all-weather wheel with the 19s, and an all-weather wheel is going to be a lot better in the northern climates. Like I live in the north, I want something that I can drive all year round in, versus the performance wheels, which are really only going to be good in, say, kind of spring to fall. So something to keep in mind. Now, if you did decide you wanted to change them out a little bit, there are plenty of aftermarket options. So something to kind of keep in mind. You want to make sure and get the tires that are going to be right for you. If you don't feel like changing them out, the Geminis work perfect. They're smooth. They're a nice, soft, comfortable ride, and I've enjoyed them for over a year. In fact, those are the ones I'm going to replace with it. However, if you do end up getting the new ones, if you do end up getting performance tires, just kind of keep in mind that you're going to have to change them out when it comes to the wintertime. One of the cool features of Teslas, though, and this is with all of them, is they actually come with like a hubcap on the center of it, right? So the hubcap itself, you can actually remove it. This is the aero wheel covers. You can remove those aero wheels, and then it exposes an under kind of rim that looks a lot sportier. So if it's just the aero wheel that you don't like, take them off. You can buy center hub kits that cover it with the Tesla logo. They sell them all over Amazon. And it's a good option to give you a newer looking, fancier looking tire. In fact, I have a link down in the description below for this company I work with called Arkoshi that actually sells a aero bag that'll actually put all four of those aero wheel covers in a bag for you so they don't get all scratched up if you wanted to take them off. There's actually a link in the description below with a discount code save you about 5 or 10% on it, which is always nice too. But outside of that, if you go with everything else stock, I mean, you're really looking at about $55,990, and that's for the car that we have. with the midnight silver metallic on the outside. So it's something to keep in mind. It's something to consider. The price is always going up. The price is constantly changing. It seems like it's not going to drop. And then if this EV credit goes through, it's going to be something else they add to it too, I'm sure. So outside of that, outside of the cost of the vehicle, the finance rating is really, or the finance rate is really low at 2.49%, at least what we found. So we ended up going down that road anyway. But outside of all of that stuff, charging cost, all that kind of thing, you're going to pay for insurance, right? The insurance cost, people, depending on where you live, if you live in California, it seems like it's the highest in the country. But definitely shop around, right? Shop around with different insurance providers. Tesla actually also offers their own insurance. As far as I know, it's only available in California, but they're planning on expanding it out to give you kind of cheap rates. They tend to charge more for insurance, or at least they think they should, because of the cost to repair. Whereas in reality, Teslas are no more expensive to repair than any other comparable $50,000 vehicle. Now, in general, the vehicle comes with a really good warranty. It comes with a 5 or 8 year battery warranty. It comes with a bumper to bumper at 3 or 4 years, which is nice. Tesla service, depending on where you are, is going to be either really good or great. And then outside of that, Tesla kind of stands behind the vehicle for the most part, at least everything that people will be nervous about, which being the battery mostly, and then anything else structurally on the car. So you're kind of backed up there. And in my case, where I live, my insurance didn't really go up that much. With the cost of 2 vehicles on there, the Tesla was pretty equivalent in price. Went up about $50, $60 a month by adding the Tesla, which was nice. It didn't. I didn't see that dramatic increase. People were seeing $200 or $300 a month more, which is not something that I've experienced. So I can look back on the year, I can look back on my ownership of the Tesla and say that I've appreciated it, I've enjoyed the vehicle better than any other vehicle I've ever driven in my entire life. And the only kind of surprise charges that I've had were any fluctuations in electricity. And then on top of that, the tires. The tires were the biggest thing for me. I just wasn't prepared for that, or at least I was surprised for it when I kind of found out about it. So looking back on it, I can say that the Tesla is no more expensive than any other vehicle. In fact, it's going to be quite a savings with the price of gas that you see out there now. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything that maybe I forgot, or maybe that you're thinking about as far as the cost of your vehicle, or if you're thinking of taking that plunge and you're not sure how much it's going to hit your wallet on it. But I really appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys are having a good week, good month so far, and that you're staying safe out there. Thanks for watching, everybody.